Hey, what's going on? Today I'm going to show you how I set up my Pentax camera. Today we'll be using the Pentax K-70, but this applies to all the other models of Pentax. It might be slightly different, but you'll get the gist of it. If you've been using Pentax for a while, some of these, you might already know some of this stuff, but some of it you might have not set up, so I'm going to show you how I do it, and it makes my life a lot easier when I'm out there shooting, just having everything accessible super easy. So let's get right into it. Thanks. All right, we're going to take a quick look here up the mode dial. I shoot an AV like 90-something% of the time, but you've got all these different modes: program, SV, TV, AV, TAV, manual, bulb, and then user mode, scene mode, and auto mode. Like I said, I'm going to stick into the AV, but we will go over how to set up these user modes as well. Let's look at the quick menu first. All right, how you get in the quick menu, this is so you don't have to dive into the main menu, is just hit info button. Now pull this up and look at all these different options you have here of different things you could set up. And these are totally customizable, so you could set it up however you want. All you do is hit OK when you find something you want to change, and OK again. You see I changed there. I changed the resolution to a higher resolution, but there's a bunch of stuff in here I don't use. If there's something that you're not going to use at all and you want to replace it with a different feature, all you do is, if you see right here, up top you hit this exposure compensation and then select the location you want to change. And then say, oh, I don't want this highlight correction, I never use that. Oh, I want this instead, this slow shutter speed noise reduction. Just put it on that, and now you have that, so it's easily accessible. You have to hit your shutter button, then go back, and then it will allow you to adjust it. So all you do is adjust it up here just with this knob. And that's it. I mean, as you can see, there's so many options on here. A lot of stuff I don't use. I guess I could go through them real quick. Outdoor view setting, custom image. I always set mine to natural. This is more of a flatter tone, so you can change stuff in post-production if you wanted. Pixel shift, that's the high-res image. It'll take a couple of pictures and make a higher-res image. Electronic level, you've got Wi-Fi, diffraction, digital. I'll just scroll through here and you can see up there at the top AF, and I usually leave mine on this, but if you're doing like some action sports, you might want to go to one of these ones with more active areas. I mainly just use it spot right in the middle. Assist light for AF, multi-segmented. This is what I leave it in. This takes the whole scene and kind of comes up with a light meter reading from the whole scene. But if you can change it to where you want it. If it's just the middle you're more interested in, or spot wherever that is, wherever you've got your spot set. Let's see here. Shadow correction, like I said, high rose shake reduction, and this and this. I leave mine in JPEG most of the time. If the scene looks a little bit like it has some high dynamic range, I'll switch this over to RAW. But if you hit info again, so you're in there and you hit info again, it gives you different ways to set up your screen how you want it. There was that electronic level, and there's that. So that is like the quickest way to get into your camera without diving all the way deep here in the menu and trying to change it. So very helpful. Just hit info, like I said, and that will bring it up. Real quick, we'll start out in here, and I'll show you how some good features to set up. I said I was going to do the user modes for the top, so let's start out with that. So if you go to the icon here and go all the way over on the K-70 here, it's under user mode. And you could go in here, and what this does is it saves it under one of those, whatever you select up here. So you go, so whatever's currently in the camera, if you look at it, would save all this info. It would save it at ISO 200, f5.6, single shot and spot, and all that other stuff would be saved. So you could go to that mode dial real quick, user setting, and all that stuff would be set up. To save it, all you would do is go in here and do save settings. You can see I've already got some set up here. So I would save under one of these if I wanted to. I'm not going to go over it, but so if I went ahead and saved that, you can name it. I guess I could show you where's name it. Rename user. So you would go in here and select it, and then you would change it to whatever you want. That's fairly simple there. So I'm going to switch over to one of these user modes so you could see. And see, if you switch to it, it tells you everything you've got set up in here. Really cool. So this is black and white HDR I've got set up. My other one is bird, so you can see I've got kind of a bird in flight with some high shutter speed there, or higher burst rate. And then eBay, we've got set to a TV mode and overexposed a little bit. So that gives you all the different things. It will tell you up here too. Let's go to next thing. Another cool thing. I'll go over a fun one now. So we're going all the way over here. Display settings. Now this is really cool. You could set your actual screen up. You see I have it under this that looks like that. So let's go ahead and change this to something else. We'll change it to, yeah, let's do that. So now everything changes to the purple right there. So that's a very cool setting. Let me change that back real quick. I don't want purple. I kind of like that one, so I'll just leave it there. I'll switch it back to AV mode so we can. There we go. Another cool feature. And now, if I don't say any of these features that you really want to know, just ask me below, and I'll try to walk you through it, or maybe do another second video on this. But if you're going to use manual lenses like old film lenses, you need to go back here all the way to the end. You'll find this on 24 here under the C tab. You need to switch this to enabled using adapter ring. Shutter release when the aperture ring is not set to the A position. So this will allow you to use those manual lenses. So if you're having trouble, you go to hit the shutter button, nothing happens. That means you have that disabled. So, all right, let's go through the button customization, and then I'll show you how to set up the knobs as well. So under button customization, you go to this, and Pentax is a really great system. You can set up all these different buttons on the cameras for tons of different things. So if you go to this one right here, I've got set up to change the AF area, but look how many different options. You could change it to whatever you want. There's a button over here, up here, and the green button as well. So that's what I have that set up. We'll go back and see you have on this one, some of the other ones even have more things that you could change. So that's where you go in to do that. Now, same place, button customization. This is where you would change, and this is really makes your camera very useful. E-dial programming. So look at that. So you could change these knobs, and this is great. This will make your photography faster. You won't be toggling around with all these settings. So you can see under AV, this is where I have it set up. So this first line right here, that would be the front index finger knob. I've got it set to exposure compensation, and then this one right here, I have it set up to AV for aperture priority. If you don't know, aperture priority, you adjust your aperture, and then it adjusts your shutter speed. So as you can see here, if I turn this front knob like I've got it set up, you notice the exposure compensation adjust, and if I move this dial, you see my aperture adjust, and it's adjusting with the light meter to change the exposure or shutter speed there on top. So that's really, really quick how I've got that set up, and it's very comfortable in my hands to change that up. That's the main things. There are several other things that you could change in your camera, but this is just a quick setup on how I've got my camera set up. I hope this was very helpful. If you like this, go ahead and subscribe and check out some other videos. Thanks for watching.